Pencils, erasers, and disqualifications. In a city called Pittsburgh, near a river called the Ohio River, a boy named Aaron Muhelli was preparing to take an important test. It was the second test of the day. The first had been in an office across town. After that, he was told to come here, to the UPMC building on 10th Street, and to bring nothing but a single pencil and a single rubber eraser, and to arrive no later than 1 o'clock. If he happened to be late, or bring 2 pencils, or in any way deviate from the instructions, he would not be allowed to take the test, and that would be that. Aaron, who very much wanted to take it, was careful to follow the instructions. He was not told how to get to the UPMC building, for example, and had found it necessary to ask directions for the nearest bus stop, acquire a schedule from a dishonest bus driver who tried to trick him into paying for it, and walk several blocks to catch the 10th Street bus. Not that any of this was difficult for Aaron Muhelli, although he was only 10 years old. He was quite used to figuring things out for himself. From somewhere across the city, a church bell struck the half hour, 12:30. He still had a while to wait. When he checked the doors of the UPMC building at noon, they were locked. So Aaron had bought a sandwich at a deli stand and sat on this park bench to eat. A tall building in Pittsburgh's busiest district must surely have many offices inside, he thought. Locked doors at noon seemed a little peculiar. But then, what had been peculiar about this whole affair? To begin with, there was the advertisement. A few days before, Aaron had been reading the newspaper over breakfast at the Pittsburgh orphanage, sharing sections with his tutor, Miss Rogers, as Aaron had already completed all the textbooks on his own, even those for high school students. The orphanage director had assigned him a special tutor while the other children went to class. Miss Rogers didn't quite know what to do with Aaron either, but she was intelligent and kind, and in their time together, they have grown fond of sharing the morning newspaper over breakfast and tea. The newspaper that morning had been filled with the usual headlines, several of them devoted to what was commonly called the emergency. Things have gone desperately out of control, the headlines reported. The school systems, the budget, the pollution, the crime, the weather. Why, everything, in fact, was a complete mess. People were claiming for a dramatic improvement in government. Things must change now, was the slogan plastered on billboards all over the city. It was a very old slogan. And although Aaron rarely watched television, he knew the emergency was the main subject of every news programs every day, as it had been for years. Naturally, when Aaron and Miss Rogers first met, they had discussed the emergency at great length, finding themselves quite in agreement about politics. However, they found such conversation boring and decided to drop the subject. In general, then, they talked about the other news stories, those that varied day to day, and afterward they amused themselves by reading the advertisements. Such was the case on that particular morning when Aaron's life had so suddenly taken a turn. "Do you care for honey with your tea?" Miss Rogers had asked, speaking in Japanese, a language she was teaching him. But before Aaron could answer that, of course, he wanted more honey, the advertisement caught Miss Rogers' eye, and she exclaimed, "Aaron, look at this! Would you be interested?" Miss Rogers sat across the table from him, but Aaron, who had no trouble reading upside down, quickly scanned the advertisement in bold printed words. "Are you a gifted child looking for special opportunities?" How odd, he thought. The question was addressed directly to children, not to their parents. Aaron had never known his parents, who died when he was an infant, and it pleased him to read a notice that seemed to take this possibility into account.
Pretty good. So what's the title of your story?
Pencils, Erasers, and Disqualifications.
By?
Benson Fechter.
Benson Fechter. How old are you, Benson?
10.
All right. And in 4th grade or 5th?
4.
Perfect. What a lovely job. And so you're going to tape part 2 with Dad, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So this is the end of part 1. Good job.